live. And first of all, I would like you guys to like, subscribe, and share if you can. Please like or follow my posts somehow, some way. And yeah, this is my Uriah Hall versus Anderson Silva preview. So let's get straight into it, shall we? Yes, I think we should. Now, this particular fight, this card itself is quite boring, really. I mean, I don't think it will be. I think it will turn out to be a great card itself, simply because there are so many. I mean, the fighters themselves, the level of competitions, like they're perfect. You have some fighters who have the same level as the other person. When that usually happens, it's a very good to see like a chess match going along. It's not like a case of um, mismatch as such, where you just see one person beating a child. Not a child up. I mean, what I mean is, you see some competition with like some weakling facing a real tough guy. Unfortunately, MVP fights were quite like that. If I have to be honest with you, MVP is the guy from Bellator. Um, no, apparently, yeah. Just briefly before I go into it, apparently, well, I'll come back to it. But let's go straight into the fights. Yeah, Anderson Silva is going to allegedly retire after this particular fight. He's got two fights on his contract, according to Ariel Helwani. So this is his second to last one, and then after that he has one more. But he has said he is going to try to, if he can't sort something out with the UFC, he is may go elsewhere, and I think he may go to Bellator. Why not? The only thing I would say is for Anderson Silva is if you saw his interviews now lately, he has changed considerably, hasn't he? He has changed considerably. Before he was like like Darth Vader, ready to just you know uh, demolish everybody. That's what his mentality was. He was not one bit, you know, um, merciful in any particular way. Never showed any mercy. He would go and flat out just destroy them until there's nothing left of them. I mean, you can clearly see from the Rich Franklin fight that he was facing a guy who was clearly he was almost finished, but no, you know what? He decided to just do him up even more, and he decided to kind of like be savage as hell. And but now lately, oh, I want to, I want to fight. I want to fight. I want to, it's about martial arts. It's about me going and striking. It's about respect. Win, lose. It's not about that. It's about fighting. It's about going. I'm being respectful. I'm being respectful to Anderson. But the thing is, let's be honest. Let's be honest, man. His mindset after his loss is just being complete and utterly crazy. I think the old savage mentality that he had, if he has that now, I think he can win this fight very, very comfortably. And guess what? I don't think we're gonna see it. I don't think we're gonna see it. But we are going to see him win. That's what I see. The reason is Anderson is a lot more um, mentally astute, really. He's very more mentally strong compared to Uriah Hall. Uriah Hall has been up and down in terms of his mental level. Against Paulo Costa, he completely did the weird, bizarre thing that he decided to take the shots. And Israel Adesanya basically showed that he basically demonstrated. He didn't even demonstrate. He said, if it was me, and Paulo Costa's coming at me like throwing them big shots and stuff, I'm not gonna stand there and take it. You're gonna be moving or circling out of the way. And in terms of fight IQ, Uriah Hall, sometimes I think the emotions get the better of him. I really do. I think he needed a real good team around him to kind of somehow harness it. Trevor Whitman is perfect, I think, for him because he's a striker as well, striking coach, and I think he would be perfect for Uriah Hall. So I think he should go there. But I would say this: Anderson Silva is can still do it. For me, in my opinion, I'll be honest, I wasn't a huge fan because of Anderson Silva, simply because when he fought guys, he actually tried to destroy his opponents. Like he wouldn't have any empathy towards them whatsoever. Like I said against Rich Franklin, he destroyed his face. His nose went across his face, and he wasn't remorseful whatsoever. He was just like, yeah, yes, I won the title. I don't care about his nose. I don't care. And guess what? He did the same thing in the second fight. He was already going down, but you know what? He kept on going for the tie clinch and kneeing him in the face. He did the flying knee. Oh, against Michael Bisping, I felt sorry for that. Was just Michael Bisping's fault because he tried to go for his mouth guard, told Herb Dean get it up off the floor, and then Anderson just came out, boom. But then straight after that, I don't know what it was. He mentally just switched off, and I think that's the problem with Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva, well, nowadays he just wants to play, wants to play and spar and fight and man, I think with the UFC, there he could have beaten a lot of fighters. I think he could have even beaten Daniel Cormier. He hit him with a front kick, teep kick to the actual body, and he hurt him. So Anderson's got the tools, but the killing instinct's not there anymore, man. I think that's the thing. He's just Mr. Nice Guy now, Mr. Nice Guy Anderson Silva. And the thing is, Israel knew that about Anderson, that what he has got that element of what I'm gonna f you up, so to speak. You know what I mean? So he was very cautious, and I don't blame him to be really. And obviously, he was like his idol, so to speak, in a way, and Anderson. So this whole this whole narrative of I think Anderson could have beaten him though, but I'm not sure what type of Anderson we're gonna get. Like what I mean to say is. He is doing the same thing. He's second guessing all the actual reporters, making them feel like, oh yes, it could be my last fight. It could not be my last fight. It might be my last fight. I think I may go. I may not go. It depends on Dana. It's normal, you know. And seriously though, he's a tough guy in terms of the fact that he's come back from an injury like that. His leg splitting apart like that. That was pretty bad. It was pretty gruesome. But to call him the GOAT, unfortunately, we cannot. Simply because, unfortunately, he did pop for a failed drug test. And, you know. But look at his record. I mean, after the Stephen Bonner fight, it's all been losses, man. I mean, the Nick Diaz fight was a win, but it turned into a no contest because of the PEDs that he popped for. I mean, his excuse was it was, a vial from Thailand to, like a Viagra type of thing. So from Thailand. So, I don't know why he came up with that excuse. That was just a bit weird, but it is what it is. Once you pop for that, you can't come back from it. Unfortunately, once you pop the roids, and that's my opinion. Now, I mean, like, look at his fights that he's had. The only one that he had was against Derek Brunson. That was a decision. But to be honest, I thought he lost that, and he got an easy victory. Simply, the reason he lost that was he got taken down and then he got grinded on the floor quite a bit. But obviously, Derek Brunson didn't do much with that because he was actually very scared of getting striking with Anderson. And I don't blame him because if Anderson lands one big strike, he can finish it. And he did what Israel did, Derek Brunson. And yeah, but think about it like this: Israel Adesanya is a champ, and he went three full rounds with him. Now, Jared Cannonier obviously TKO'd him by a leg kick. It's his own fault that. I mean, Jared Cannonier kept on doing a leg kick, and instead of again, he wasn't checking them, and I don't. His game plan it was if you watch that fight was again. Oh, I'm going to do martial arts. I'm going to do something excellent, awesome. He's changed. He's completely mentally changed. It's not the same guy. It's like seriously, it's like a new human being is mutated and taken over Anderson Silva's body, and he's Mr. Nice Guy, Mr. Nice Guy, Anderson Silva. Man, when he was like mentally like I'm gonna f these guys up, he is on point now. The thing is that mentality is not there anymore. So you know I've got to give it to I'm still going to give it to Anderson Silva simply because mentally he's more stronger than Uriah Hall. Uriah Hall has had a lot of losses as well. I don't know where he is in terms of his mental game. I mean, the last two victories has been Antonio Carlos Jr. and Bevan Lewis. And then the previous to that was a loss to Paulo Costa, TKO punches, which I have to agree with Israel Adesanya. He was using a jab, he was using a distance, but then he just decided when Paulo Costa was throwing punches that he would stand there instead of trying to circle or get out of the way or trying to take him down. He just stood there. I mean, yeah. What can you say? Uriah Hall. Yeah, I think it's. I'm gonna give it to Anderson Silva without a doubt. Yep, it's a shame. Yeah. So now, in terms of the rest of the card, we have Bryce Mitchell versus Andre Feely, a featherweight bout. This is going to be a high-paced fight. I am going to go with Bryce Mitchell on that particular fight, simply because let me see, man, he's undefeated with he's that's a good reason. 13 wins. Sure, a lot of them decisions, but he's a submission artist. A lot of them have been submissions. I would say 70%. I think. I mean, four have been decisions. So, although I mean, in the last previous fights, in the last five fights, four have been decisions, and I think he's stepping up in competition. So against Andre Feely, it's a perfect matchup for him. Against him, sorry. Andre Feely is been a bit inconsistent. I mean, sure, he's won against Charles Jourdain, but it was a decision. He did knock out Shaman Moraes, KO, and he got a big decision victory over against Miles Jury. But the thing is, Miles Jury is no longer in the UFC, which is fair enough. He got a decision victory over Artem Lobov, but that doesn't really say much, unfortunately. But one thing which is very apparent to me is he has a loss against Calvin Qatar. Calvin Qatar is just on the ball. I think this could go to the decision, but I'm just gonna give it to the guy undefeated guy simply because he's more of a finisher and he he has been finished as well, Andre Feely. you know. So I am gonna go with. I mean, he's been finished by Yair Rodriguez, so I gotta go with Bryce Mitchell on that one, without a doubt. Now, in terms of the other fights, we have Maurice Green versus Greg Hardy. Maurice Green, oh my gosh, that was a crazy fight that he had with Gian Vellante. Gian Vellante, what was he thinking? He that was just like, I'm sorry to, I'm not being disrespectful, but it was like Gian Vellante could have the victory in his grasp, and he was like a Homer Simpson guy, managed to hit him with a big shot, take him down, and then he went on top, and then Maurice Green just like upside down triangle, arm triangled him, but he wasn't even tight, and then because like Gian Vallante's head was in the actual in his armpit, so not his armpit, in his in the guard, so to speak. He just tapped out. He had like about a minute to go, and everybody was like, "What?" Because seriously, Maurice Green was getting finished. So, and Greg Hardy, I have to say, his career is up and down as well, but he's a harder hitter than Maurice Green. Maurice Green's very inconsistent, so I'm gonna go with Greg Hardy on that one without a doubt. Now, the next one of a level of competition is Kevin Holland versus Charlie Ontiveros. Now, this one, I am thinking, well, is it Charlie? Let me see. Let me see. Anything MMA, Ali Savage. Anything MMA. Anything MMA related. So yeah. Um, where is he now? Charlie Antivirus. Charlie Antivirus? Mm-hmm. Uh, I will just get straight into it. I mean, personally, I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with Kevin Holland. I think he has been coming up, and lately he has been looking good. I mean, the last loss that he had was a submission RNC against Brendan Allen, but he's not on the next level. I mean, he's got a win against Gerald Meerschaert, who was, but it was by a decision, split decision. So Kevin Holland, he has got the goods, and I will have to say Kevin Holland on this particular fight. Now we have also Thiago Moises versus Bobby Green. Bobby Green has been looking good quite a bit lately. He's been using his wrestling quite a bit. His striking looks all right. I mean, his counter striking's okay. Thiago Moises, he again, unfortunately for my liking, he has been a bit inconsistent. He does have against Michael Johnson, he has a submission victory, Achilles lock, in round two. He lost though prior to that. It was by decision, unanimous one to Damir Ismagulov, and he's lost to Benil Dariush. So, for my liking, I do not think Thiago Moises is going to win that fight. So I'm going to have to go with Bobby Green on this one. His momentum's riding high. And I think that's what's going to be the case with him. And yeah, that is the case with that. Now on to this whole GOAT talk, shall we? Shall we talk about that? I think I should talk about that now. Obviously, you know, for me, obviously the pound for pound king, for my liking, has got to be um, well, for me it's either GSP or Khabib Nurmagomedov. And early in, what's his name? Um, GSP's career. Early in GSP's career, he had some losses, and they were mainly because there were more mental lapses that he had. He was mentally like against Matt Hughes. He was like, oh my gosh, I'm facing my idol. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna face him, and it's gonna be pretty damn bad. Um, yeah. Any guys as well? Anybody wants to put any comments? You can do on the video, and I will try to any questions or anything like that. I will actually answer them at the end if you like. Okay, so for GSP, the only losses that he's had has been because of mental blunders against Matt Hughes. He was like, "Oh, Matt Hughes, he's got him. I always got him in the armbar," and he wasn't even an armbar. And he already started to tap just at the bell as the buzzer went in the first fight. Uh, the first fight against Matsera. The first fight against Matsera, he was actually quite worried. No, he wasn't worried at all. But he thought, you know what, I'm gonna fight him. He's hitting me hard. Oh, I'm gonna get him hard. And doing that, he thought he bought his own hype, and he thought he was better than Matsera. And then he realized after that, you know what, this is a learning curve, and quite frankly, I am going to change my style. And after that, he was very safety orientated. After that, he was very much um, safety first, and trying to get the victory first, and then move forward after that. Safety first, and um, um, then in terms of like being opportunistic, it wasn't very dangerous in that regard. He wasn't very exciting to watch after that fight. I mean, the one of the exciting fights that happened was like against Carlos Condit, where he did actually try to strike with him initially after he came back after his ACL surgery, and then he got caught with a head kick, and then he went to the floor. But at that particular point, he knew his whereabouts, and he basically just righted the actual timeout on the floor. Then he got back up eventually, and then continued the fight and won. After that fight, they were all pretty snooze fests. The victory that he had against, let's see, let me just get their stats up. The the fighter who he kind of we all saw him lose against really, but he still got the victory in the end. Um, Wait, I'm just getting Khabib stats up. For me, my top three have got to be GSP, John Jones, and Khabib. These are the top three now. In terms of pound for pound rankings, I have to give it to Khabib. Simply right now, I feel after the Justin Gaethje fight, it seems for me it seems as though, you know what, he can actually close the distance. He can get in there, close the distance against a guy who's striking with a good range, because he did that against Conor McGregor. He did that against Justin Poirier. Justin Poirier's got a good reach. Justin Gaethje as well. He's got a good reach against Barbosa as well. He got a good reach against him as well, even with his leg kicks. And he managed to track them down and get them to take them to the ground. Now you could say none of them really had much wrestling, which was the case when it came to Justin Gaethje. He had his wrestling, and that was the key. Now the thing is, we clearly saw the discrepancy in terms of Habib's wrestling towards Justin Gaethje's, because what he did with Justin Gaethje was he basically felt him out initially, trying to strike him. Then he realized, wait a minute, Justin Gaethje's trying to move backwards, keep in the inner circle of the octagon, and try to leg kick him. So he just went, you know what, I'm gonna go in. I'm just gonna get in and just gonna finish him off. You know what I mean? Like, it was brilliant game planning by him. It was just complete and utter, because he had a feeling out process, and he went, okay, I gotta get in and throw good punches, and then he took him down towards the end of the round, and he almost got the armbar there, and then in the second round he kind of did the same thing. Now people would say, oh, in the first round he had the same strikes as his opponent. um, what I mean to say is, the the judges gave two of the judges gave it to Gaethje. I just don't see that, because simply the strikes, in terms of significant strikes, they both landed the same, and Khabib took him down. So Khabib wins hands down. You know what I mean? But my main point is, he managed to get him to the ground and get him towards the cage, and then just ride him and get him onto an armbar. And he got it easily done in the second round. The moment he got him into a body lock when he was on his knees, twisted it, rode his back, jumped on, transitioned to an armbar. Then he went to the um, triangle and subbed him out. That was absolutely phenomenal, in my opinion. That was without a shadow of a doubt. That showed to me he can face a wrestler. So just imagine, in my opinion, the way I see pound for pound. Okay, so if he was the same size as John Jones, John Jones got great jiu-jitsu. His wrestling is good. It's not that great, to be honest. Not anymore. Not that I've seen. He can't take everybody down, and that's what I have noticed in his early part of his career. I'm looking way past his. I'm looking. I'm not. I haven't even considered the fact that he had done roids. For me, I think he's clearly done roids. But let's not even talk about that just yet. If they're both the same size, if they were both striking, Khabib would manage to close in the distance and throw and catch his opponent. Whether it's leg kicks or not, no, not leg kicks. He did it against Barbosa. He did it against Gaethje as well. Now, if his wrestling was there, if his wrestling is perfect and John's is perfect, I definitely think Khabib would have the advantage on that as well. Jiu-jitsu wise, I think pretty much even for my liking, without a doubt. And I think this version of Khabib is the pound for pound best. I'm talking for MMA. You don't need, this flamboyant style of Anderson Silva esque style where you have to be flashy and knock out guys all of the time. You don't need to do that. Sometimes broken rhythm. I think it was by Bruce Lee when I was reading one of his books. Is very important because it's a fight. It's a fight. It's just it can be very random. So Khabib is perfect on that. Not to mention he had a broken foot, and he continued on with that. So for my liking, pound for pound, I've got to give it to Khabib. Not to mention he got 29 victories, all undefeated. Now you can say, okay, wait a minute, he didn't defend his title as many times as John, but let's be honest. Um, if you look at his record, how many? how many? What is his record? John Jones. I think he's got 26. Is it? He got 10 decisions, so he's got an even amount of decisions. 10 KOs, 6 submissions. So yeah, 26, and I think one no contest. Yeah, so 27 fights. Now he's 29-0. Whereas Khabib 29, and he's not had any infraction whatsoever. He's not had any problems with USADA. He's not had any problems. Um, I'm not going on about his personal life. I don't need to. We all know what he's like. But even John, he's had a loss, but his loss was like a disqualification, a legal elbow. He did a downward elbow to Matt Hamill, and he did manage to take him down though at that time. And Matt Hamill was one strong dude in terms of wrestling. Now, and another thing that I would say about John is a lot of the no, he has fought some great fighters in their prime. I think a lot of them are juiced, and Visa Belfort did look like he was juiced. I tell you, but I gotta give credit where credit is due. You know, John has fought some decent fighters, but after I mean, he beat Brandon Vera, Vladimir Machishenko. He beat him TKO elbows on the ground. I remember watching that. Ryan Bader, he submitted him. Shogun just wasn't there. He just didn't have the wrestling, and it was like a paint job. Completely painted him up. Beat Quinton Jackson. That was all right. I think what it was, he was ahead of his time. That's what it was. A lot of the other guys, they were just specialists of one particular facet. So Lyoto was more of a, you know, um, karate guy. Quinton Jackson was more of a boxer. Shogun was more of a Muay Thai guy. Ryan Bader was just a wrestler. Vladimir Machenko was just like a wrestler. Look, but after that, after Alexander Gustafsson, I think after the partying caught up to him, then sure, he beat him. I thought that was a draw. I thought that fight was a draw. To be honest, the first fight that they had, it was clearly, in my eyes, was a draw. Now Glover Teixeira, after that, he beat him, and in my opinion, he lost to Dominic Reyes as well. Sure, some people said, like Chael said, he lost to Thiago Santos. I give it to John that one. I really did. I just thought, you know what? Um, I don't know. I just felt as though John did enough to win that. Anthony Smith, what a boring fight that was, wasn't it? If you ever watched it, Anthony Smith could have got the victory if he just played the game and went, oh, illegal knee, oh. So in that regard, in terms of being GOAT, there are too many. There are too many there are too many problems there when it comes with John. I think what solidifies it is that he's had two PD infractions. He clearly said he was hiding under the cage, but he said it was for marijuana. And then Dana came out and said at that time they weren't testing for marijuana, so I don't know what he's talking about in that regard. So he's, clearly Dana's thrown him under the bus, and I don't believe he was there under the cage simply because of for that reason. I think he was cheating. The whole picogram thing is saying that in a pool they found like a pinch of salt uh, in a giant pool. But let's be honest, he could have been watering it down out of his body. You know what I mean? He could have been on it, like as so many fights ago, And slowly, as USADA is kicking in, he's slowly getting it out of his system. It'll take time to come out of his system. So how did he get into the system? Do you know what I mean? But Jeff Nowitzki, I think at the time wasn't even arguing about that because UFC were actually pushing John because they needed him for the shows. So because he even changed an event going from one place to another event to I think it was from Vegas to California they changed it. So there are too many asterisks on John Jones' career. There are definitely too many asterisks, and clearly he lost to Dominic Reyes. Clearly he lost to Dominic Reyes. If Dominic Reyes had won the fight, just his previous one against Jan Blachowicz, we would have gone, oh, you know what? Yeah, Dominic Reyes is the man. You know what I mean? Now, the fact that he lost, now everybody's like, oh, wait a minute. John was actually good. John was actually good. So, I don't think so. Go watch the fight. He lost the fight. So, how can he be the pound for pound? But not only that, how can he be the GOAT? For me, the GOAT, I have to give it to. It's got to be Khabib or GSP. GSP, like I said, like I was saying before, he's had no infractions in terms of PEDs. He's had a loss to Matthews, the submission armbar. He could have easily won that if he was mentally strong. He could have easily won that. In the loss to Matsera, he could have easily won that if he chose not to strike with him in the first round. If he chose to take him down, but then he avenged his loss, and he beat Matt Hughes two times afterwards anyway. So he did very very good. Now he did against Johnny Hendricks. That was a split decision win. I thought he kind of lost that, but if you notice, Johnny Hendricks after that fight, he went downhill and he couldn't make weight properly as well at the time. And then his body shape changed as well, and that was when USADA was kicking in. And I think that was a thing with GSP at the time. He was really angry at the time, and he was annoyed with all these people. Um, Everybody, because they all were on rides. And then at that time, Johnny Hendricks was. I think he did pop out one time. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not. Don't quote me on it. I don't know. But his body shape changed for sure. Um, we can't say for certain. So yeah, I think in terms of being GOAT status, I kind of have to maybe give it to GSP, or it has to be Khabib. I mean, the reason why I'm still reluctant to give it to GSP, but I still class GSP as the best, simply because he beat Michael Bisping, but he knew he had a problem with his eye. He knew he had a problem with his eye. Um, but you know what? He won the 185 title. So bottom line is he won it. He didn't face Anderson when he should have. I think he would have been. I think mentally he wasn't ready for that. I think if he would have faced him, it would have been very drastic, and I think he would have lost that fight. And I think that was the right decision for him to make. No, is either GS. I think I've got. In terms of GOAT, I would give it GSP personally. Um, Maybe simply because he did fight Michael Bisping at 185. But he has had some losses, so I'm not sure. I would say Khabib. Khabib is still a GOAT. Let's have a look at Khabib's record now. The last three victories were names which we all know: Justin, Dustin, Connor. Alec Quinta, you could tell he was just playing there, but he won that clearly, hands down. Barboza beat him completely. Decision. Got a victory over Johnson, and he's even had a victory over RDA, and RDA is like the gatekeeper for 170. So now everybody was saying Talking about Gleason T-Bab, I no, I don't think so. He won that fight. Um, Seriously, he's had good, really good. You know, he's had dominant performances, man. He's had dominant performances. Now, in terms of, he's had 8 KOs, 11 submissions, 10 decisions. So he's not a decisionator as well. So, ooh, it's very tough, man. It's very tough. It's out of George St. Pierre versus or Khabib, and in terms of doing it the correct way for the GOAT, I would have to say, yeah, Khabib is a GOAT, simply because he's done everything perfect. Now, but you could, if you argue with me and say George St. Pierre's the man, I would say, you know what, fair enough. I'm not going to argue about it either way. But yeah, I'll have to give it to Khabib on this one as well. Um, no, apparently, Dana, Dana, Dana said that he may not be retired. Ooh, he said he may not be retired, man. So what will happen if he's not retired? Who's he gonna face? Who's he gonna face? And I think personally, it's got to be only one fight that is interesting him, and that is GSP. And if he goes for that fight, I think he can beat him. I think that's why George was like so surprised. He was like, "Whoa, I wasn't expecting anything like that." And I think if he does fight him, if he doesn't fight him at 155, I think in a way it will be better for Khabib as well, because I think the weight cut doesn't really help him. And yeah, that would be the fight to make. I think if he can make that fight maybe next year sometime, I'm sure it's going to be after Ramadan in April. So yeah, Khabib's going to win that. And then he's solidified then in everybody's eyes that he's the GOAT. He's definitely the pound for pound king. As far as John Jones is concerned, there are too many asterisks on his name, man. Popping for roids twice, man. Victories which are just like against Dominic Reyes. Come on, he lost that fight. He lost that fight. And Thiago Santos, people could say he lost that, but again, I give it to John. Um, I mean, he's already got a loss on his record. Matt Hamill, he could have easily had a loss on his record against Anthony Smith, but Anthony Smith didn't play the game. And again, against Alexander Gustafsson, he could have easily lost that one as well. It was a draw. That fight was a draw. Go watch it back, everybody. It was a draw. He's definitely not the GOAT. Definitely not the GOAT. If it is anyone, yeah, I would say Khabib or GSP. I'm going with Khabib, but like I said, GSP's on the equal record because he's at. Actually, I don't know. I'm keep thinking about it back and forth, but for the body of work, you have to say Khabib. For the body of work, for the record, for his undefeated record, everything, you gotta say Khabib. GSP, he's faced like 2 generations and as well been to a second weight division and won the championship. Played it safe. Uh, let's see his record now. I just want to know. 12 decisions, 6 submissions, 8 KOs. Khabib, 34% decisions. So he's got. I think George has got decisions like at 50%. So yeah, man. I'll say this: I think it might turn out to be a boring fight. Maybe not. I don't think so. When it comes with Khabib and GSP, that would just be bloody damn good. But John Jones, hell no, he ain't the GOAT. Hell no, he is not the pound for pound fighter. No, definitely not. I don't know where he's. You know, I don't know what he's on about there. I really don't. Now let's talk a little bit of who else. Let's see what's happening in MMA. Any other news? Oh yeah, Tyson's going to be fighting. Who's he going to fight? Yeah, in the exhibition. Apparently, it's 2 minute rounds for 2 minute rounds, and there are 8 rounds in total. And they're not happy about it because they're saying, oh, the fans are not getting what they want. I'll say this: Roy Jones looks really good in shape, man. He looks like the old Roy Jones. It looks really, really good. But if you've seen the videos, um, if you've seen the videos and of him striking, I would say Mike Tyson's gonna hit him hard, and I think it's gonna be big shots to the body, and it's gonna be over for Roy Jones. I think he's gonna take it to the body, then move to the head, and I think his Roy Jones is gonna get KO'd. Man, this is not. This should not be an exhibition fight. I don't know why they called it an exhibition. Apparently, Jake Paul is gonna be fighting as well, so that's gonna be weird. I don't even know what that is all about. Oh yeah, Mike Perry's opponent, I forgot who he was, is out now on UFC 255. Now he's calling out Hamzat, saying, "Come on, Matt, in UFC 255 in November, why don't you jump in and save the day?" And you know what? It's if he doesn't take it, it will look as though that Hamzat is scared. Obviously, he's not. But the fact that he's been calling everybody out and he's not, you know, that itself makes me laugh. He's been calling out everybody, Hamzat, and now when he's got a matchup, everybody's calling him out, and the fact that he's not going to be taking it is he's gonna be looking like he is the guy who is scared. But let's be honest, he isn't. And I think Hamza, he should just fight him. You should just fight him. I mean, apparently, what's his name? Thingy was going to take a fight, Chris Weidman, but apparently he was too late or something like that, and he went for Leon Edwards. So yeah, I think what Hamza can do it. I think that if you, I what I am really worried about Hamza is, I think he might overtrain himself. I think his training partners need to kind of, you know, don't push him too much, man. You know what I mean? Push him enough, but don't push him too much. You don't want to burn him out. You don't want to burn his overwork his body and you know finish it before he even starts. I don't want to see that. But you know what? Everybody's in charge of their own destiny. So what can you say? And in terms of other news, I'm trying to think of some. Oh yeah, the whole Conor mess. I mean, in terms of not the Conor mess, the lightweight division mess. Um, Apparently, the fight in January is not going to be for the title. So I think just do a tournament. I think do a tournament or basically do that for the title itself, which is fine. And then after that, he can go and face Manny Pacquiao, and then after finishing the Manny Pacquiao fight, he can come back and face the winner of the tournament as such, of whoever is in ranking, like Mike Chandler. Uh, you got Tony Ferguson. Oh yeah, you got Tony Ferguson, Mike Chandler, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor. I think if you add Islam Makhachev in that will be six, so they can all fight each other out. So I think Islam should fight Tony. Justin should fight Chandler, and Poirier should fight Conor. And that fight is Conor and Poirier. would be for the title. I think, as well as that, if you notice, he's put out some videos saying, showing, oh, look at me, look at my body, it's in great shape. Conor McGregor has been. I think he's bulked himself up too much now. I really don't understand that. If you go and check it out online, and he's bulked himself up for no reason, and I think that's the wrong thing for him to do. He needs to trim down in the best way in terms of like not doing weights. You don't need to do weights like The Rock does. Like he's constantly trying to get do weights so that. But the thing is, you become more rigid. You know what I mean? You need to be more flexible, and him training in a way where it's like he's getting huge. I don't see the point of that. He's adding more mass to his body and more muscle. He's gonna have to carry a lot more muscle. He'll gas out sooner. I think now Connor unfortunately has a lot of yes men, and I think no one's willing to tell him that he's wrong. So I think in terms of that, it's not good. But the thing is, the fights that he's picking, like Dustin Poirier, that's a perfect fight for him because he can finish him off in the first two rounds. And if you've noticed, Dustin usually can get, like you said, Dustin will get dusted. Conor finishes fights in the first two rounds. That's what he wants to do. After that, he switches off. He can't maintain that pace for the full 5 rounds. I mean, if you watch a Nate Diaz, sorry, second fight was it kind of sucked up quite a bit. That really did, and he couldn't finish him, and which not many people have as well. I give him credit for that, but he's getting detrimental for himself. And then not only that, he will face Manny Pacquiao, who's got a speed advantage. He's not going to knock out Manny Pacquiao. The power didn't go and check the actual fight against Floyd Mayweather. Check it on Sky Sports Boxing, okay? Because didn't get capture all they didn't capture all the arena as well. If the cameraman work was perfect, it was like focused in the cage. You could see the body, you could see them fighting, they're facing each other, and you could see it. You didn't see any of the crowd, and you could actually see what was actually happening. And what it was Floyd was just letting him punch himself out. He really was. He was just carrying him on purpose. He was doing it on purpose. And Connor, he went for the straight left so many times. That punching, the Prince Nazim Muhammad punch, what he tries to do the uppercut of Prince Nazim Muhammad. He tries that as well. And he did land it in the first round, but after that, any of his shots which were landing, they were becoming pitter patter shots, and they weren't finishing him at all. And my gosh, Floyd just basically he had like a thief mask on, didn't he, when he came in, like he's robbing the bank, and he did rob the bank because that was like a joke. He clearly just robbed everybody. Um, Unfortunately, Connor, well, what can you say? I think he's gonna lose against Pacquiao. Yeah, I think he will. I think that's a stupid move for him to do. I don't understand where's all this coming from. I really don't. But if he does fight Poirier, he can beat him. Um, unless Poirier weathers the storm like he did against Dan Hooker. The only thing is, I don't think he will, because Connor is more precise in his striking, counter punching, perfect. Seriously, he's a good fighter. I'm not gonna deny that. I'm not gonna. It's just a shame in terms of like what his motivations have been. He's had this up down trend of career, and I think that's where the problem has lied with him. Now, on to Bellator. I didn't watch this, by the way. Now, Jared Musase, you know, apparently he's got big plans for Jared Musase. He wants him to move to light heavyweight. Um, After this, I think he beat. Who did he beat? Douglas Lima, yeah, by decision. and I think it was due to basically him taking Douglas Lima down. But I mean, look, I think Douglas Lima wasn't he fighting at 170? I have no idea. Let me just check his. I'll say this in terms of Douglas Lima. I mean, he beat my MVP. Yeah, what was that at? He's a 170 pounder, and he didn't even. Oh my gosh, he. I mean, he had a unanimous decision loss to Musasi, but that's because of a size advantage. Clearly, Musasi is not a 150, 170 pounder, and that just says a lot of praise to Douglas Lima, I have to say. I mean, he beat Rory McDonald. Is he the welterweight champ? I don't even know. Maybe he was both champs. I don't know. I both, champion of both divisions. I'm not sure. But you beat Rory McDonald, Mike MVP, Andrei Koreshkov. You know what? UFC, if they can sign him up, man. He did lose a decision to Rory McDonald in the past, but then he did beat him in the second time. Um, I have to say, Bellator, I don't know what they're doing in terms of promotion. They don't do it properly. I don't know what it is. They just don't do things properly. I don't even why put on the fights on Thursday. It just doesn't make any sense. I didn't even know they were fighting that early as well. Otherwise, it would have been interesting to watch for sure, just for that fight. I don't really watch, that. Now, also Jake Hager in AEW's Jake Hager or Jack Swagger from the WWE. He won a dog fight. Now let me see what happened. 3-0 in heavyweight. Well, I mean, he had a decision victory against well, he's got a 3-0 record with a 1-0 contest. So I guess the fact that he's he had a war, shows he has ability, and the fact that he's willing to strike with a guy, I think I'm not sure exactly what happened. Wait, Brandon Carlton, 2-1 record. So he's like pretty amateuristic as well, but uh, you know what? It doesn't give that much of a hope in terms of like he finished the guy. So he was in a dogfight. It was really impressive. I think he might have a similar type of career like Bobby Lashley. But I will say this: the fact that he went and went full through hard rounds, as opposed to just trying to take the guy down like Bobby Lashley, and then when he taking strikes, I can't take it anymore. I can't take this anymore, and then just retire after that. I think that doesn't help whatsoever. So yeah, that's that. Now, as far as any other MMA news is concerned, I'm not so sure. I don't think there is any. Not that I can think of. Let me see if you guys have got any questions. Nope. You did have one, but anyway. I appreciate anybody who's watched this, and thank you for this. Please, like I said, if you can share this or like and follow this page, I would be very, very much appreciated. I would very much appreciate it. And thank you. And have a great weekend and enjoy watching the fights. And yeah, that's it from me. Have a great day. See ya. Peace.